What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So as y'all know, I have been playing a lot of older games recently, and with that I was playing a lot of Dirt 2. I absolutely love that game. Easily one of my favorite Dirt games in the entire series. Now if you are wondering what I mean by these series, is the first Dirt, Dirt 2, Dirt 3, Dirt 4, and Dirt 5. None of the Dirt rallies, those are technically separate. But when I was playing Dirt 2 though, I'm like, man, you know what game I really need to get, man? That is the original Dirt. For some odd reason, I was looking around for this game for a bit. I could not seem to find one anywhere. Luckily, though, I went into a store one day that did sell games, and boom, I did end up seeing this one. I gotta admit, I got pretty dang excited, bro. And I'm going to say this right now. This game came out in 2007, and wow, it still is really fun to play. Like, yeah, you could probably see some rough edges around the graphics and stuff. I'm sure you can argue it. But I still admit, though, the overall gameplay of Dirt is 100% there. It's kind of weird because, like, I was playing Dirt 2 and stuff like that. I was going through that game, obviously, playing in 2025. This is, once again, going to be on the PlayStation 3, fully captured from it. And I was going in there like, okay, well, I wonder how this game is going to look compared to Dirt 2. The first Colin McRae Dirt, or the original Dirt game, came out in 2007. Dirt 2 came out in 2009, so they're obviously going to be a few years apart. And I gotta admit, the graphical changes in the PS2 to PS3 is obviously wild, which I am going to talk about that in a separate video of games from the PS2 to the PS3. But I also do admit, though, you can indeed see games changing in the PS3 life cycle as well. It's honestly pretty dang amazing. But when I was playing through the first Dirt game, I was like, yo, this game really does have that feeling still, man. Like the overall feeling of like going really fast in a rally car, going on different maps and approaching in different classes, stuff like that. What I mean by that is the Class 1 buggies, the trophy trucks. And on top of that, though, there's also going to be a lot of other classes in this game that honestly completely blew my mind, which I am going to touch on in a different video. But a sneak peek of that, we are going to have the Class 1 buggies. There is going to be big rig trucks in this game. I couldn't believe it. There's also going to be Hill Climb Unlimited. Again, guys, I am going to break these down in the vehicle variety video. We're also going to have Rally Raid T1 and T4, which the T4 were literally going to be Dakar trucks, man. Like the big ones I used in Dakar Desert Rally, legit. Could not believe it. So I was playing Dirt. I'm like, yo, this game had these cars in it, bro. This is absolutely insane. Now, this is going to be coming from someone who did play a lot of Dirt 4, a lot of Dirt 5 and stuff. And one thing I gotta admit, guys, playing through the first Dirt game, it's kind of insane going through each game of the series and realizing how they change. You know what I mean? I'm actually going to have a video in the future where I'm going to talk about each Dirt game pretty much in a sequence of things that change in each game for the better, for the worse, whatever you like to call it. It's actually pretty insane how each game does end up changing. Now, if we're talking from like a rally standpoint, there is going to be legit long rally races like front-wheel drive, four-wheel drive. We're also going to have rear-wheel drive. There's going to be classic rally cars. We're also going to have rally cross and stuff like that. There's also going to be an event in this game I had a really good time with that I never played in Dirt 2 because it wasn't in there. It is basically going to be on a small track. It's going to be you 1v1ing another racer. And what's kind of funny though is you probably hear that and go, okay, well you're probably on the exact same track just 1v1ing them, right? Like you normally see in the other Dirt games or other racing games. Well, no, that's not going to be the case in this. In fact, they took an approach I have not seen in any other modern game. There is pretty much going to be two different tracks. You're going to be on one, the racers on the other, and they're both going to be different, but you're racing each other. Once you cross the finish line, though, you are then going to go into the track they were on and vice versa. You have to race each other. You have to beat them. And one of the cool things I found with this, though, is you are going to pretty much figure out some of the tracks and go, okay, well, you notice how one's probably going to be a tad faster here, or you're going to have a lot sharper of a corner here, but then the other track's going to have a straightaway, and it's really going to give you strategic ways to end up getting these done. In fact, I found these races pretty dope, and it really was something I was like, yo, this is interesting with this being in the first Dirt game. I wonder why the other Dirt games or like other racing games haven't done something like this. I mean, it was pretty dope. The other part of this, guys, is we all do know there's going to be rallycross type of stuff in this game as well. Shocking. We all do know most of the Dirt games, I actually think every single one of them has rallycross. And I did enjoy this with the fact of this being the first game. I would admit Dirt 2 for the series for me is still going to be one of my favorites. The next game I'm also searching for is Dirt 3 now, so stay tuned for that one. I would say that game's also loved by a lot of people in the series. And the funny part is, I can tell why the original Dirt game, even playing this game in 2025 on the PlayStation 3, is still going to be loved by so many people. Like, there's a lot of things to do. There's going to be a lot of different events. There's going to be different tracks and stuff. There's different ways to race. One thing I really cannot believe, guys, is the fact that we really did end up having the big Dakar style trucks in this game. We all do know, yeah, these aren't going to be the fastest thing out there. Like, you're not going to be doing 200 miles an hour in them. At least in Dakar Desert Rally, some of the trucks hit like 150 or something. But in this game, though, I would say most of them probably hit maybe around 100 or so, and they still feel quick, but they're also going to feel bigger. And yeah, you're driving a huge diesel truck that is probably going to be bigger than pretty much a rally car. So yeah, it is going to be heavy, am I right? But racing that in this game, though, I was like, yo, this is so dang cool. I cannot believe we have vehicles like this. And then I'd pretty much race that, and I'd go, okay, well, let me see what I can do next, right? So I was looking at some of the other events. I went in and went, okay, let me go do one of the rallycross events in something like a Peugeot. I think I said that right. Is that the right way to say that? Because I have heard a few people tell me it is not going to be POGOT, which I've heard people say that, and when I was younger, I used to call it that. Make fun of me if you want. But I was using a Peugeot, which you guys are going to see in the background. This car was going to be all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive, tomato in these games. Either way, though, I was racing through some of the rally course on this thing, and it felt absolutely amazing. I'm not going to lie, though, one thing I really had to get used to on the original Dirt game compared to Dirt 2 was probably down to the simple fact that I'm going to be real and say that I had to get used to the handling, and I kind of sucked at first. I did end up starting off in the first difficulty, and then I did end up pretty much playing through the game on Pro once I got to it. Once I was getting used to the handling, guys, I was just having issues with like the twitchiness or the touchiness of the analog stick trying to turn, because I am using a PS5 controller, not a PS3. I did kind of switch back a bit. I would say the PS3 was similar, but maybe a little bit better, but still going to take some time to get used to it. But either way, though, going through some of the rally course in these cars, trying to get used to the handling, and then jumping into something like a trophy truck and all that, I was like, yo, this is pretty much putting me right at home. I love the fact this game had more trophy trucks and all that different classes, and that was something I really did enjoy about the first Dirt game. That also really brought me back to the second Dirt, because I was like, okay, well, I get to drive these trophy trucks, these other classes and stuff like that, and I feel like that was one of the biggest staple points of Dirt, was because, yo, it isn't just going to be rally cars, which, don't get me wrong, there's nothing with just having rally cars in it, but I feel like Dirt was taking a different approach, and this was like the first game of this series, which is still so weird to say, man. Like, this game is, what, 17 years old? It's absolutely wild. I don't know where time has gone. But when you are looking at something like Dirt, you're like, okay, well, we're going to have different classes in this game. You're going to have different experiences. And when playing through this, I'm like, this is a pretty amazing thing to be going on in the first Dirt game. And I kind of wonder why some of the other games didn't follow suit with this. One of the other parts, guys, I am going to show this in the background. I cannot, again, believe there's going to be big rigs. Not only that, though, but it's going to be a Freightliner. To be honest, the only other game I played recently that has a Freightliner is SnowRunner, bro. Like, I cannot believe there was going to be a Freightliner type of truck in this game. Like, it was just mind-blowing to me. I was literally racing a semi-truck up a mountain pass. Like, I was like, what in the world is this? This game's from 2007. Having vehicles like this is just absolutely insane. Again, I will end up breaking this down in the vehicle list video, because I honestly could not believe some of the stuff that is in this game. With that being said, guys, I feel like a lot of players do tend to focus on the rally aspect or rallycross, and I do feel like this game really hits a great job at that. Again, once you get used to the handling a bit, and the reason why I say that is playing like newer games and stuff and going back to older games, you're probably going to have a bit of a learning curve there, which isn't a terrible thing. In fact, I kind of found it pretty dang fun going, okay, well, the handling model in this game is different. I'm going to have to get used to this again, right? And boom, once you do, pretty much hits right back at home. Like, you kind of feel perfect at it, and that really is going to be a fun factor. Including with that, you are going to see a clip in the background of me driving an old Subaru. This track, guys, was so dang difficult. I think I actually failed this race for about 30 minutes. I am playing on Pro, and I noticed I was running into trees and hitting stuff and all kinds of things, and man, I was getting pretty frustrated. I was like, okay, I gotta go fast here. I can't mess up there. I am going to be too slow here, and I actually had a few runs to where I was green the entire track, and then basically at the end, I'd end up flying off the track or going a bit too quick in a corner. And in this game, it's not going to be like Dirt 2, bro. What I mean by that is, as far as I do know, there's not going to be a rewind feature, which I feel like a lot of players have gotten very used to. And yeah, playing Dirt kind of made me go, okay, well, I can't rewind here if I mess up. I'm going to have to get better, and I'm really going to have to keep growing in this game to really be a better player at it. Because if you fly off the track or hit a tree at the end of it, guess what, man? you ain't going to be able to rewind and save yourself. No. Guess what you're going to have to do? Restart the entire event, man. That is pretty much the only option. So I do feel like a lot of people looking at that might go, okay, well, I'm going to have some practicing to do. And yeah, I kind of fell into that a few times, guys. I'm not going to lie, hit trees, messed up and went, okay, well, let me restart the entire time, and that will mess your run up. If you mess the car up, it is then going to run slower, similar to like Dirt 2 and stuff like that. So I really do feel like Dirt really had a lot of great things about it, including the damage model and the fact that it's going to be a pure skill type of thing, like you're doing a long rally race. If you mess up at the end, man, you're cooked. You can't rewind and save yourself. No, you pretty much have to restart and do the entire event again. It really, honestly, does make you think a lot. With all that being said, though, guys, I could probably keep yapping for another 15-20 minutes about Dirt, but I do want to mention, though, stay tuned for other videos coming on this game. You are actually going to see one of the buggies in the background, which was not going to be in Dirt 2 either. You had the Class 1 buggies, but you're also going to have, like, a level pro or something like that, to where it's a different buggy. And I gotta admit, these were also going to be insanely fun. But I do want to let y'all know, stay tuned for what makes the original Dirt special. And I'm also going to be talking about the car list in this game for it being in 2007, which I gotta admit, looking at some of the vehicles in this game, guys, I honestly cannot believe it. But on top of that, I'm also going to be doing a video about the Pikes Peak hill climb races in this game and the vehicles that are part of it. And honestly, it's pretty incredible.